Welcome to Sports Overtime. We had a great week breaking down the biggest topics in sports on Southeast Sports Plus. Here's the best of. And we have a third person here in our studio. We want to welcome officially Gabriella Genereaux. Gabriella, number one, welcome. Welcome aboard.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. It's been an awesome first day.
Yeah.
First week, really.
Mm-hmm.
I've been in Mobile for a week now. Love the area. Close to the beach, which, you know, what else can you ask for?
Yeah, no question. So Gabriella is the third on our team. Patrick and myself and her, we will drive the show, of course, with our friends in and around Nexstar Nation. You got a chance to meet Corey Curtis during the break. You'll meet everybody else as we go along there as well. But you have close ties with the SEC. Obviously, you went to an SEC school as an undergrad,
Vols.
And you covered an SEC school as well. Let's talk a little bit about your history with this conference.
Okay, yeah. So I went to the University of Tennessee, and I've always known I wanted to be a sports journalist, so kind of jumped in headfirst as a student there, did a lot of reporting for them, as well as I worked directly with the media department there at Tennessee. So got to witness them beat Alabama. I know that's probably a hot topic on this side of the state, but got to witness them beat Alabama my senior year, which was cool. But then headed to Auburn after that, worked at Auburn for about 15 months. I was a team reporter there for Auburn Athletics, so that was a lot of fun as well. It was cool to get to experience the Alabama side of the SEC.
Right, absolutely. Compare, if you can, what you saw because you were in different stages of your life when it happened, but compare, if you can, when you were a student, whether it's a night game or a day game, at UT, at Neville, or at in Neyland Stadium, and then at Neville Arena, and maybe the football games over at Auburn when you were covering it as a professional.
Right, okay. So I might be biased, you know, but I don't think it gets better than Neyland Stadium. A night game at Neyland is always rocking. I mean, the fans are insane. It's 102,000 screaming people. Like, it does not get better than a night game in Neyland, and I stand on that. Which Jordan, don't get me wrong, Jordan Hare is electric. It gets when the swag serve comes on in the third quarter, if they're winning. It's a lot of fun. They have a great atmosphere there. But I will say for basketball, the first game I ever went to in Neville Arena was a Tennessee-Auburn basketball game. It was last year, so I'm pretty sure Auburn was ranked.
Now to think, because
that would never happen.
It would even be a slap on the wrist here
He
today.
might still be there.
Yeah.
Seth, I grew up playing baseball, ended up playing college baseball over in Division III, and the biggest thing that I remember from baseball is you got to deal with the highs and the lows, but stay even-keeled throughout the whole process. How have you found a way to stay even throughout the whole process since a season is 50-plus games long?
A lot of talking with my dad.
I remember that.
I think I didn't do too well with that early in my career. It's something that I've really focused on this year, not riding the high too long, not riding the low too long, staying level-headed, and just playing one game at a time, one at bat at a time, one pitch at a time. I mean, it's my dad's helped me out a lot with that.
Yeah, you talked a lot about your dad. Let's give us some of his background. You said he played there as well, so he knows what you're going through. He's literally been in your cleats. What has that been like? The relationship been like since the time that you were a kid to where you are now, and just being able to have him impose his wisdom on you?
So he played for Coach Berry at Meridian Community College. Got drafted out of there and had a 13-year professional career. So I mean, he knows a little bit about the game. He's always there when I have a question, even when I don't have questions sometimes. I don't know. He's been steady there always. It's been an awesome relationship to have. Anytime I have a question, he knows the answer, it seems like.
Growing up with a dad who obviously had so much success in baseball, was it ever a question to you if this was going to be your path, or were you hitting off the tee from a young age?
I was on the field with him probably since birth. Awesome. I knew this was the sport that I loved. I played other sports in high school, but once I started realizing what the recruitment process was, this is exactly the sport that I chose, and I mean, I don't regret it one bit.
Seth, being from the Gulf Coast and there being so much rich baseball history here, what does it mean to you to be one of these faces in the up-and-coming generation, to be from the Gulf Coast and just the time that you've spent down here?
Yeah, Mobile was a great area. baseball-wise. I was blessed to play with a lot of future college baseball players and even some professional baseball players. I mean, it was just like there was talent all around us. It was always a learning process. I was able to learn from the guys who came before me and pick their brains a little bit, see how things were done, and obviously it's helped me out a good bit into the success of today.
No question. Obviously, the Sun Belt has been really talented for a very long time. As you look forward to what's ahead in conference play, this is obviously a league that put Coastal Carolina in the championship series. You guys have been red hot. Troy's had good seasons as well. South Alabama historically has had great years. What's the mentality shift like when you go from the non-con to the conference?
Obviously, our non-conference gauntlet has been a gauntlet. We've played some good teams, and we've been able to win some of those games. Obviously, we're pushing to break the barrier the College World Series, and that's our goal for this year, not only to get there but to win it.
Speaking of the grit that you saw from this team, just looking back to where they were mid-season to the win streak they were able to pull off towards the end, do you feel like it was a mentality switch? Do you see any specific adjustments? Like, from your perspective, what do you think the big shift was?
Yeah, I was actually listening to a bit of Joni Taylor's press conference today, and she said that this was the forecast all along. They forecasted this when they were 1-8, and I don't know how anybody could forecast that. But if they had the confidence that they could get this done, and this group was gonna make that turn, I think that's it. All happened, I think, when senior Lauren Ware came back. She's the big post for Texas A&M, and to have maybe a little bit more size against these SEC teams has really helped make the change. But her leadership has just been through the roof. When she came back, it took her a little bit to get back in the swing of things, and since then, I mean, this Aggies team has been rolling.
No question about it. Coach Taylor pulling all the right levers as we end off the regular season. Here she was.
I think it's easier because we weren't hearing it 4 weeks ago, and so I think part of it is just continue to trust the circle that we had, when we were going through the storm. And so it's when you forecast some things and they come true, it just helps out in a lot of situations, whether we're talking the wins we've had or just people or things. And so I think they have a really good understanding of what got us here, and to continue to do that, to put us in the best position possible to continue to have some of the success we've had.
All right, Corey, it's time to revisit a conversation that we've had all year. And I'm going to be on my high horse about this because I tried telling you in the beginning, but you were like, let's just wait and see. Let's just wait and see. Now that the women's basketball regular season is over, is Michaela Blakes the SEC Player of the Year?
Did I say wait and see? I mean, look. There are other great players in the league.
Yeah.
She's the Player of the Year.
Yeah.
I mean, she's not just the Player of the Year in the SEC. She's probably the Player of the Year in all of college basketball.
100%.
I mean, Vanderbilt wouldn't say that's the expectation. Well, they might, but for me, that comes out tomorrow, right? SEC Player of the Year.
I think so.
So.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, look. She has scored over 30, I think, at least 6 times now in league play, and this Tennessee game was another one where they tried to beat her up in the first half, and second half they just couldn't deal with it. They just couldn't deal with it. She's long, she's snaky, she's she gets that arm extended and nobody can get to it. And the other thing, and Shea Ralph talks about this, is it's not just that she scores in critical situations.
Right.
She gets baskets that they need. And then Aubrey Galvin is probably going to be the freshman of the year. I mean, I could be wrong on that. She's had an unbelievable year for them. I think, I believe they expected big things from her. I think she's probably ahead of what they expected at this point. But Michaela Blakes has been really, really sensational, because it's not like, they don't see her coming every game. Right?
Yeah.
I mean,
just look at Texas.
So, I mean, you got a bullseye and a cape on, and you still can do it. It's pretty unbelievable. And she's also done it against some very good competition. I still think those top 3 teams are a tier above nationally, the rest of them. Like I think Vanderbilt and Texas fall into kind of a 1B, where South Carolina, UConn, and UCLA are 1A. Mm-hmm. That doesn't mean 1B can't beat 1A, but it just means those teams are pretty elite.
Right.
And we've seen that there. So I mean, I know Texas beat South Carolina, but that was a long time ago. I feel like the Gamecocks haven't lost in a long time.
I know.
I could be wrong.
Last one, OU.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think so.
January, like late January.
Stay with us here on Sports Overtime. And remember, you can watch our show, Southeast Sports Plus, from 2 to 4 o'clock on the free WKRG Plus app. You can find us on your Roku, Fire TV, or Apple TV device. With our good friends in Knoxville, welcome in Sam Granville on the program. Sam, let's start off here with this men's basketball team. They played Alabama. They've played some really entertaining, interesting games the last couple of times that they've matched up. The last time, Bama was up for a long time, but Tennessee wins the game. It kind of worked in reverse this time around, where Tennessee seemingly had a lead, a commanding lead. I think it was 13 points at one point. But then Alabama makes the plays, and they win it by 2, 71-69. What'd you make of that collapse and some of the things that it might project forward, or do you think it's just like a one-off, really good team, really hot team came in and won?
Yeah, no, Alabama did everything at the end that they needed to do to win that game. And, you know, it obviously hurts. You can't just throw it all on the fact that, you know, Nate Ament didn't play in the second half other than, you know, maybe 30 seconds before leaving the court, you know, but you can't blame it entirely on that. But if you look back at the last 2 months of basketball, they've kind of had this pattern. The Vols have had this pattern of they go up in the first half, the start of the second half, whatever team it is in SEC play seems to kind of work their way back into it. And then, you know, the star freshman gets hot and there's no answer for him on the defensive side of the ball. And somehow the Vols end up pulling back out to a 10-point lead and end up winning the game.
And I mean, we'll talk about Nate Ament and moving forward and if he's going to be okay as we start to get ready for the SEC tournament here. But does it give you any promise, the fact that this was such a close game and Nate Ament, as you mentioned, went down with an injury, left pretty early in the second half and only scored 2 points, for it to still be pretty close? Is that a promising sign for this team?
I would say to an extent, yeah. I mean, when, you know, as far as future potential goes, Nate is the best player on the team. Right. You know, Jacoby's probably the best college basketball player on that team. He still had a phenomenal night where I think he had 23 points, 7 assists, and 8 steals, somewhere along that line. So a near triple-double with assists and steals.
Way to recite that.
Game from right, you know, just phenomenal, you know, and you know, to not have Nate certainly hurts, but I do think that they were right there in it. And anytime you're in SEC play, and you can take it down to a 1 to 2 possession game, which is what most games end up being, except for Florida right now, where they seem to be playing a different level of basketball and just absolutely obliterating Arkansas the other night. Most of these games are going to come down to the 1 or 2 plays. No matter which team is on the end of losing a player.
And I feel like on this show today, we've talked a lot about just within the whole SEC, some of the teams that have had a lot of inconsistencies. And I feel like Texas is another great example of an extremely inconsistent team. Do you feel like at this point in the season, mentally, they're almost just like beaten down?
Yeah, I mean, well, beaten down from their head coach yelling at them like every single week, which I can't blame them. But yeah, I mean, during their 6-game win streak, I believe it got to, there started to be some real belief around the program. Like, man, this is a lot of consistency. You know, 6 games in a row hasn't been done in Texas in like over a decade and all these things. So, but to come out the way they have as of late has been really disheartening from a Texas perspective. And it's kind of put a cap on where I think, and a lot of people think this team can go because they're talented. But man, it just, as you said, they're inconsistent and they don't have anybody that can just totally take over a game unless it's really Jordan Pope, which he can do that like once a year. And all the things you look for in like a great tournament team, Texas has like maybe 1 or 2 of those pieces. But I think there's a limit to how good this team can be. And if you just look in a vacuum, you're like, okay, a team that won 6 straight SEC games, I don't know how many teams in the conference could say that, maybe 3 or 4. You're like, that team maybe has Final Four potential. I think Texas would have an extremely hard time getting to the Sweet 16 because, they're probably going to be anywhere from like an 8 to a 10, depending on how these next couple of weeks go. I could certainly see them winning an early round game, a first round game, but to beat it would have to be one of the top 12 teams in the country, presumably. I do not think they can do that, especially if Florida is like a 2 or 3. Man, they're going to have a tough time advancing to the second weekend.
Yeah, no question. We've seen this Oklahoma team play very, very strong here, towards the end of the season. They're playing for Porter Moser really hard. Is there any sense of maybe, hey, we get through the end here, we win a game or 2 in the SEC, like, is there a sense that they can generally like create momentum, or is there confidence based on, as you mentioned, that 6-game winning streak and just saying, hey, we could turn it on and be that team that won those 6 games?
I think they've been pretty good at that this year, Gerhard, and like being able to flip the switch and like look terrible one game and then kind of change it around and be good the next. So I don't know if it's necessarily gaining momentum. Like, to me, if they lose against Oklahoma and then they lose in the first round of the SEC tournament, obviously bad. But, I still think they should be a tournament team, in my opinion. 9 wins in the SEC and some marquee ones, including on the road against some good teams like Alabama. I think they should be in and not have to play in the first 4. And I think they could kind of flip the switch like that and be ready for the NCAA tournament. With that being said, I don't know how important the different seeding is between like getting like an 8 or a 9 or a 10.
Right.
I just think the team could certainly figure some things out as of late, because there's been some troubling signs in these last couple of games where when adversities come their way in a lot of these games, they really have not met it with any sort of force, and they've just kind of given in. So that's, to me, is what I think you would need to see, because last year for Texas, they were, in my opinion, without question, a worse team. They had that guy that you could go to at all times in Trey Johnson, but they had nothing really complimentary around him. But in the tournament, when they got Kendall Weaver back, I think they were outside looking in for the NCAA tournament. But they won, I think it was 3 games, and they beat some really good teams, and they were playing their best basketball of the season. And they had momentum going into the tournament. But then they lost in the first 4 to Sean Miller's Xavier team. So how much is that really worth once you get to the actual dance?
Stay with us here on Sports Overtime. And remember, you can watch our show, Southeast Sports Plus, from 2 to 4 o'clock on the free WKRG Plus app. You can find us on your Roku, Fire TV, or Apple TV device. As far as the rotation for the United States, we're just throwing out, just ballers after ballers after ballers on this team. That includes, as you mentioned earlier, a former LSU star in Paul Skeens, but also Tarek Skubal and Nolan McLean. This is a, like, if you
this
want,
is a nightmare for.
I mean, this group right here. I know this is just a starters. We'll throw some other guys out there, but I could see these arms right here giving up less than 4 runs.
Yeah. I mean, I genuinely wouldn't be shocked. Now, the one thing I will say is the season hasn't even started yet, and a lot of these guys are obviously going through spring training, so they're going to be on pitch counts. Tarek Skubal is going to throw 55 pitches against Great Britain, and then he's going to go back to Florida and rejoin the Tigers to get ready for the season. So if you're looking ahead towards the knockout phase, I think you're going to have to rely on Nolan McLean a little bit more, Logan Webb potentially, Paul Skeens. You would expect him to be on a pitch count as well. But I will say this about McLean. He just went through vertigo recently.
Right. Yeah.
So who knows if he's going to be up to full speed. But when he is on, he is easily up there with the Logan Webbs, with the Paul Skeens. He is the most underrated pitcher I've seen in the MLB going back to last season. And he's going to be a star for years to come. Yeah,
he has a chance to show that in this World Baseball Classic. He talked about recovering from the aforementioned vertigo.
Yeah, I mean, obviously my body, I had to take care of my body first to make sure that it's where I wanted it to be before I go out and try to compete for Team USA. And I'm comfortable where I'm at right now. Yeah, I mean, it was definitely, I was going to be pretty upset if it was something that would get taken away from me like that. But like I said, my body has to come first. But the way I've been feeling these last couple of days, I should should be trending in the right direction and still pitch for him.
Did you look into driving in case you couldn't fly? Did you look at how long a drive to Houston is?
I mean, I'm pretty aware from going to school in Stillwater that it's not a fun drive either. So I think I'd rather tough out the plane for sure.
Pretty expensive Uber.
Yeah, no doubt. It's a long Uber.
Pretty expensive Uber.
Pretty expensive Uber. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us here on Sports Overtime tonight. Remember, you can watch our show, Southeast Sports Plus, Monday to Friday from 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock on the free WKRG Plus app. You can find us on your Apple TV, Roku, or Fire TV device. Good night.